What is up, boys? It is a beautiful day here in Oklahoma. It's been raining its tail off past few days, but we got some nice fresh blue sunshine. So got off work a little early and we are going to play with some fuel lines today. My Evil Energy fuel line kit showed up. They give you a bunch of fittings, 45s, straights, U-turns, 90s, the little connectors to go over like your sending unit and stuff like that. And then they even give you some tie downs to mount like on your frame or whatever to secure your hoses. I also picked up this sick little AN wrench, adjustable wrench. It's got the little notchy doodles on there for whatever size AN you're messing with. I'm messing with 6, so that's what I need. And I also picked up some vice jaws, some AN vice jaws on Amazon, just some little magnetic joints. I think this was like 10-15 bucks on Amazon. Super cheap cop. Might be super handy when we're trying to tighten our AN fittings up. So we're gonna get this leaky feed line addressed. There's just a little split in the line right here where it goes up against this push lock collar, and this hose clamp has cured us for now, but I don't mess with janky fuel lines, so we're gonna fix that. And I was boneheaded when I ordered the kit. Somehow I had the 25-foot option selected, but something happened during checkout or whatever, and I must have fat fingered it over to the 10-foot kit. So I don't have enough to do everything, but that's okay because 10 foot will get us from the fuel filter right down here up to this fuel rail. So that's what we'll do. That solves our problem, and it'll give me a chance to get under there and kind of look at the lines down there. But I think what happened with this line up here is I was being kind of rough with it when I was cleaning them out. So nonetheless, we're gonna fix that. I'm gonna get you guys set up on the tripod. We're gonna get our fuel rail bled down so that doesn't spray me in the face when I disconnect it. Then we'll get disconnected from the fuel filter down here, leak a bunch of fuel. Then we'll get that line up here so I got a length kind of figured out and I know what fitting ends I need. And then we'll get our first experience of making AN lines out of the way. Let's get it. Well, we got some bad news, boys. I don't think the camera's picking it up, but there are some splits in the feed on this side. Well, we were about to fix that, right? There's a split from the collar to this back side of this first ridge. There's another split there, there's another split. Basically, there's a split like a hex. Like as if there was a nut in there. Like, there's 6 slits right there. Then I looked back here. Same thing. So, yeah, there's a good one. But yeah, that's not gonna work because that's eventually gonna leak. I'm shocked it's not leaking right now. So no telling what the return looks like on the fuel pump up there, and also no telling what the feed looks like up there on the tank. So I just ordered on Amazon Evil Energy's 25-foot kit of just hose is available, and it's overnight. So it'll be here in the morning. So I'm just gonna go ahead and start working on removing all of this, unfortunately. I remember this is a new filter because I thought that was part of our lean issue. I changed the filter just to be sure. But yeah, I'm gonna work on getting the fuel lines completely removed through back here, and then we're gonna start disconnecting the bed, which is gonna blow, but we're gonna do it. Time for some fresh AN lines. I guess I'm gonna get some good practice, huh? I didn't move the camera around much, but I was just trying to get after it. I pulled the fuel lines all the way down to here. I've got the filter sitting in a bucket, and I've disconnected everything on the bed, so the bed's ready to lift off. I just need to wait for some help. But me and Clevenger were trying to do some data collection, and he was wondering if the lines were deteriorating on the inside, and I was like, well, you got me curious now. So I cut about that much off, and then I just ran a razor blade down the edge. But as you can see, the inside was starting to split right up to that first barb. Like, you can see the indentions of the barbed fitting. So it wasn't splitting beyond that, but it was splitting at the end of it. So I don't know exactly what was going on there. Maybe fuel sitting on this end, on this flat spot of the barb. Maybe fuel was pushing through and sitting up there. I'm not real sure what was going on there, but I do know that if I spread this, which it's probably not intended to be done like that, but when I spread this like this, it's just splitting and cracking apart. So this stuff apparently is not the way to go. So lessons learned. And for everyone who was like me and is saying that AN lines are too expensive, I can't afford them, Evil Energy has cheap lines, and cheapest ones I could find, and have a really good reputation. So I ordered that kit. So they have a kit set that's like 10, 16, 20, or 25 foot length, and it's the PTFE with fitting kit. Comes with a boatload of fittings. You still might need a special one or two for your hookups to your sending unit on your tank, but that was like $60, I think, which, if you think about fittings are all like $15-ish a piece, and so there's like $100 worth of fittings in there, plus 10 foot of hose. I just overnighted 25 foot of just hose, no fittings or anything. 25 foot of Evil Energy hose off of Amazon.com, and that shit was $61. So if you don't have $150-ish to spend on fittings and fuel lines, you better save up. Just wait and save up. I'm telling y'all, do AN lines. Don't do that cheaper hose. All right, guys, what is up? Part 2, whatever you want to call it. I got another day, another opportunity to come out here. Got some time, so off camera. Over the weekend I had old Tossy help me out. Old Austin, my brother-in-law, I'm very thankful for, helped me get the bed off. I had it unbolted and all unhooked and everything, but the two of us couldn't pick the bed up, so he kind of helped me while we hooked up the cherry picker on our very sketchy strap setup. And we got the bed lifted off. I've basically got the front corner resting on the tires, and then I've got the back side resting on the bumper. Probably would have been a lot easier to move the bed if I would have took the bumper off, because we were getting really hung up right here. But it's part of the game, and we're not painted and stuff yet, so I didn't care about that because we got a bunch of body work and stuff to do. So, but anyways, now we have access to our hoses on the fuel pump, and we can get this end of it disconnected, and then we can get the sending unit kind of broke loose. I want to unhook it and see visually, because that is an aftermarket fuel level thing, and I've went back and forth on how it needs to be calibrated, and Google is it's very difficult to find the proper ohm or resistance that this sending unit is. So I'm kind of guessing at this point, but it's pretty well like a notch or two off of full, so I know if I pull that off and we've got fuel like right here, then we know it actually is a full tank. So this will give us easy access to pump it out with our hose set up, so we can get the fuel drained out, get some fresh fuel in it. And I'm going to take this opportunity to blow all this stuff off and get it clean, hit it with some brake cleaner and get it all cleaned up. And then while I'm here, I'm going to go ahead and touch this ground up, go ahead and scrape the frame, clean up the connector. If I need to, I'll crimp a new one on. I'm going to put some heat shrink on here. I don't know why I didn't have it on there to begin with, but you know, just to try to protect it a little bit more, and then we'll put some fresh paint over it so it can't do it again. Without further ado, let's get it. We made a discovery. So I took the sending unit out, and the tank is for sure empty. This jug is full to here, so 5-ish gallons, and this jug is full to here, so maybe another 3. So I probably had like 8-9 gallons in there. That's not a full tank. So I remember that I did put an OBS sending unit in here. So I used ChatGPT to look up what the ohm rating of a 95 OBS fuel sending unit is, and it says 0 when empty, 90 ohms when full. And then I looked up my glow shift fuel level sensor, and that is setting 4. And this last time I adjusted it, we had it on like, it was either 0 or 9. So I adjusted that, and when we put some fuel in it, we'll see how that goes. But that's one big thing checked off the list. We got all the old fuel out. There's just a little bit down in the bottom of the tank. And funny enough, I always saw people say that the OBS tanks weren't baffled. When I look down in there, there's baffles in it. Like it's like a maze. So I feel like it is baffled. But anyways, got that done. So now we're gonna start working on lines. I measured our old lines here, and I had right at about 9 foot on the return, and then I had just about 3 foot right here on this side of the filter, and then it was like 4 something out the other end. So what I'm going to do is cut a piece probably like 9.5 foot, and then I'll get this side done up and get it roughly routed. Probably what I'm going to do is cut the same 9.5 foot of the fuel filter side, so the feed side, and I'll just get it attached here and then start routing it and using those clamps. And then I still have the factory holder for that fuel filter, so I want to use that. So what I'll do is have the fuel filter sitting in there, and then when I get to that, I'll cut the lines in the middle, and then basically like pull that line back out, you know, into the open, or disconnect it so I can stick it in the vise and get the fittings attached. So here we go. A new thing I haven't ever done before is make AN lines. So yeah, let's get it. All right, boys, so I had this all fixed up. I already loosened it, and then I thought, man, I haven't recorded in a minute. So they're gonna sit in that area. I'm sure that's hard to see, but I'm doing what I can. They're gonna sit around there. And then I mocked on the 90s to get a good idea where I needed to cut. Basically this vacuum, not vacuum, to the catch can from the valve cover is going to split the gap. That way they don't touch, they'll be relaxed, and then when I tighten them down it'll kind of lock them in place. But I've got my tape marks set. It's hard to think it needs that much of a split, but I'm probably going to check that again before I cut it. But the return, just to give you all an idea, if you're going to do AN lines on yours, yeah, this is the return. So this is the return side's uncut, so this is 10 foot. So that tells you how much extra you're going to have from the tank. So 10 foot's more than plenty. If you got a 20-foot kit and you're doing a regular return style with a filter down here, because remember that filter takes up, you know, 4 or 5 inches. 20 foot would do the job. So if you got a 20-foot line kit, you would make it from the tank of a short bed single cab. I don't know what extended cabs would be. I have no idea if they're the fuel pumps kind of in the same spot or whatever, but extended cabs, that probably adds, I don't know, 3 foot maybe, I don't know. But for a single cab short bed, 20 foot would do you for sure. And then like if you were doing a Corvette style regulator, which I see a lot of people are shying away from now, you would need much less, because that's a return less system. So from the regulator you only have one line coming from the regulator, kind of where the filter is on mine, up to the engine, so you would use less. I'm feeling pretty good. It's not as hard as people make it seem. I know I'm decently mechanically inclined, so to me it's not a big deal. It is tedious, you do have to be careful. It is kind of an art, but if you've got the magnetic bench vise pieces, and you've got at least an AN wrench, or you can use regular wrenches, you're just going to scratch your fittings all up, you'll be set. And then I'm using my a lot of people use a cutoff wheel. I'm using these, and they're cutting right through it, no problem. And then the Evil Energy kit comes with the bullet, so you can when you smash it, when you cut it, you can, you know, open it back up with this to get your ferrule on. I'm gonna get all those cut, get it all tightened up, get the little holder clamps on there, and kind of get it all buttoned up and zip tied up where I want it to be. Then I'll show you guys what that looks like. I got her all buttoned up and donezo. So we put our rollover check vent back on. We got our AN lines all tight right here. I got the grounds all hooked up. It's a little dusty from when I put the fill hose back on, but I cleaned it all off with the Roloc whiz wheel, got it all super clean, and then bolted it all together, and then shot it with some paint, so it'll be nice and sealed up, no more rust. And then we got our connector back on. All our lines are tight on our fill hose and our little vent tube. And then let's go down here. I am tired, boys. Goodness. It is late and I got to get up early. Okay, so we got a nice run coming from the tank. And then I realized that these old clips for the OG fuel lines actually fit 6 AN. So I have some of those tie together clamps, and then I zip tied it to that hanger, and then I put the return line through that one, left some slack on the filter. I overshot this side by a little bit, but I didn't want to redo it. And it's close enough, it's nice and tight. And then we ran forward and got another tie down clamp right here. And it's kind of cool. I've never messed with AN, but it's super rigid, and I didn't think of like how rigid it is. It holds it together pretty good, so you can like position it the way that you want to. But yeah, I got it fished up through here, and then let's pop out up top. All right, so up here we got I got some of that heat shielding wrapped individually around each line, the return and the feed. There's a holder just at the bottom of the foil. You probably can't see it on camera, but that holds it together. And then I put another zip tie right there. We're going to see how long that lasts with the header right there. And then I've got it positioned to where it should stay away from the column right here. We'll see the steering shaft. We'll see how that goes. I'll keep an eye on it over time. If it we start having issues right here, whether it be it rubbing through that foil or, you know, whatever, we'll address it. I'll just keep an eye on it. But then so I split the throttle cable with the return and the feed, and then I also have our brake booster line and our valve cover vent over to the catch can over here. I've got that running in between the feed and the return. We're gonna keep an keep an eye on that. There's swivel joints, and these O-rings are letting this whole thing swivel. So with it running and stuff, if it's trying to lean into this hose, then we'll reposition that or whatever, you know, that's easy. I can just make it longer to where it shoots up and over, you know, and then just redo it or whatever, because remember, I got all that extra line, so we can redo it if we need to. But yeah, tightened these up. I kind of scuffed up the return because I'm a bonehead, and I tightened the feed before the return, and it's very difficult to access that with some wrenches. So they're a little marred up, but we got it done. Yeah, so shout out Evil Energy. Fuel lines are really good, so I appreciate you guys sticking around. I got some merch coming, so be on the lookout for that. Everybody that's new, or I keep getting comments, hey man, it's good to see you back, haven't seen you in a while, you know, it's been some months or whatever. I've been posting decently for the past year. I've definitely been posting pretty good this year in 2025, so if you guys are just now catching on in the last video or two, I definitely ask that y'all go back and check out, you know, the progress of when we put the engine together and got it in, got it fired up, yada yada. And one more thing I want to touch on, if you guys are here from like the how-to side of things, that's awesome. Please subscribe and ring the bell, because YouTube's doing something right now, and a lot of even bigger creators are dealing with it. Our subscribers aren't seeing our content. It's not popping up in front of them. So you guys are missing videos, and then I post 5 or 6 videos, and then you see one and you think I've been MIA for a while, and I've been posting, it's just not getting to you. And the only solution that a lot of big creators have seen is if you have the notification bell turned on. That way you'll know every time I post, you'll get a little notification, and I'll pop up on your recommended, and you'll be able to keep up with every update we have. So other than that, I appreciate you guys sticking around and tuning in. Peace out, be human, and we'll see you next time.